Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, this is actually my second time recording this, just because I recorded this yesterday, but when I reviewed the footage this morning, I realized the audio was pretty terrible, as well as I was actually skipping over quite a few things that I wanted to review here in this video. So yeah, redo here. But for today's topic, we're actually going to be discussing how you can protect your organization from data leaks, as well as unauthorized data sharing. And how we're going to be doing this today is mainly through a DLP system. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually just jump right into it. So I want you to go over here to the Microsoft admin portal, and then go ahead and find compliance right over here at the bottom. And let's just click on that here. All right, let's give that a second to open up. All right, there we go. Okay, so here, once you're at the home page, go ahead and find solutions at the top left here and go down to DLP and click on it. And look for policies on the left-hand side here. Let's just go ahead and click over there. And we're more or less just going to be setting up a DLP alerting policy, which more or less just prevents data leaks, right? All right, so as you can see, I have quite a few here already for my organization. But we're just gonna create a fresh one from the start, right? Let's just create a new policy here. And my Microsoft's actually just been a little slow. That's why it's taking a second to respond here, but let's give it a few more seconds. Hopefully it loads up. I don't know. There we go. All right, cool. So now, as you can see here, we have quite a few categories. Now, which one you'll select mainly will depend on the field, I guess, that you're in, right? So if you're a healthcare organization or something, or a hospital, you're probably gonna want to go with the medical and health, right? More focused on the HIPAA side of things. If you're a fintech company, or you deal a lot with financial data, you're going to want to go with this one. In my case, I do work for a fintech company, so I am just going to go with the financial category. Now, as you can see, there is quite a few options here under it. Now, typically most financial organizations are focused on being PCI compliant, right? But if we actually click into the PCI DSS standard here, we do see that it is more or less primarily focusing on credit card information. But let's just say we want to look for a little more than just credit cards, right? So if you actually go down here to the US financial data section, you'll see that this policy here actually focuses on all three here, which is credit cards, bank account numbers, and ABA routing numbers, right? So I'm usually going to select this one and hit next. And let's just give this a name actually. Test policy, and hit next here. And let's give it a second to just validate everything. All right, so once you're at this page, you more or less just want to select who you want this policy to affect, whether that's certain groups or certain users. By default, it is set to the full Entra ID directory, so every user basically. I'm just gonna leave it at that and just hit next here, right? Now here, as we can see, we have quite a few options of what exactly we want to manage for which applications, right? We have Exchange emails, right? We have SharePoint sites, OneDrive accounts, Teams, chats, and channels, and devices. This on-prem repositories is basically if you have, if you're kind of your setup is kind of a hybrid one, right? Your Exchange or SharePoint, it's kind of a hybrid setup. But yeah, you can probably just disable that there if you're not, and just go ahead and hit next. Or actually, we can actually take a look at the actions of what this is here, which is basically you can specify any groups or users you want to monitor, but by default you can just leave it at all groups, right? And then you want to just hit next here, right? Now here it's I would say it's interesting, right? Because let's say, for example, you want to not only have banking information such as credit cards, account numbers, and all that included, but let's say you want to add a little more onto it, right? So you can actually do that by creating or customizing the DLP rules here. So let's go ahead and select that and hit next. All right, so over here, if we actually just drop these two down, we can see kind of the condition and action that this policy takes, right? Now, by default, it's just saying, okay, if we see any of this information, take this action, right? Which is just notifying the users. Now, you can add more rules if you want, but I'm just going to edit these as they are, right? So let's just go ahead and go into one of these rules here. Now, let's break this down step by step, right? It's basically saying, okay, if we see any banking information, basically, right? From 1 to 9, so 1 credit card number to 9 credit card numbers, right? Activate the policy, right? That's kind of the logic behind it. Now, I would probably set this number, the 9, to any, because I don't think you want this policy to be limited to like just, hey, 1 to 9, take action. No. The minimum, you probably want to keep that at 1, just because it's like if your company has like very strict rules against like sharing sensitive information like this, I don't think you want even like 1 credit card to like slide by, right? So leave that at 1. And if we actually go over here, we can see there's an add option. Now let's say we're looking to just, gather more than just banking information, right? Let's say, for example, I don't know, we want to monitor SSN numbers, right? Social numbers. So we can actually search for that up here and select it. And what just happened there? Okay, no. Let me actually just cancel out that and redo it. I don't know what happened there with Microsoft, but okay. Let's add that again. SSN. Search. There we go. All right, there it is. And add. Okay, there we go. And let's just set all these to any again. There we go. All right, cool. So yeah, now we're actually going to be monitoring for social numbers as well. And you can add certain like exceptions. Say for example, there's like, I don't know, the sales group or something, you don't want to like monitor theirs. You can add, those guys as exceptions here too. For actions, I would probably recommend leaving this as is, just because it is very intrusive, I guess, in a way, how it takes actions against like sensitive information. Like for this one, right? Let's say, for example, you restrict access or encrypt the content that is being shared, right? It's a double-edged sword, right? Yes, you're protecting the data, but at the same time, you're kind of disrupting operations too, right? A better recommendation or route here to take would be just notifying users or groups that are sharing this, then I guess taking a more aggressive approach, right? So we're actually going to be doing that here, right? Leaving that as on. And if we scroll down here, right, it's going to say, okay, notify users in O365 when this policy is basically active, right? And it's going to say, okay, notify the person that sent it or shared it, whether that's the owner of the SharePoint or Exchange or whatever, right? And you can actually add certain users to this as well. So for example, let's say like certain managers want eyes on this, right? You can add them right here, and it will basically just pull the entire like Entra ID directory here, and you can just select the users from there. But if we go down now, right, you can have custom messages that are actually sent out when this policy is activated, right? So you could say, I don't know, this is not allowed, right? And just whatever, right? Whatever you want to set that to. But I'm just gonna leave that disabled for now. And there was actually, yeah, okay, right here. This was something I actually missed yesterday too. But the incident reports, right? Who's getting alerted? Now, I would recommend setting up like a group email or like a distribution group or something that gets all these alerts like fed into. So for us, we actually have one set up. If I search DLP alerts, there it is. And I'm just going to add that, right? And basically any and every alerts that come in will go directly there. And yep, I believe that is more or less the gist of it here for this policy. Now, if I click save here, I'm actually going to get an error thrown back at me right here, because we currently have like policies existing that are more or less doing this. So I'm just gonna hit cancel here, and yeah, we'll just go over this, right? So for you, you're just gonna hit save and next on, right? Let's click next here. Now, for this part, I would recommend, if this is your first time doing this, run a test simulation. I wouldn't recommend just, throwing it balls to the wall and expecting it to work. But if this is something you have done before, just turn on the policy immediately and roll it, right? I'm not going to finish it here just because I don't want this to conflict with any of our existing policies. I'm just going to cancel out this. But this is more or less it for setting up DLP alerts in Microsoft Purview. If you guys found this helpful or whatever, feel free to hit a like and a sub. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next one.